poem started developing. I started scribbling it down as fast as I could on pieces of paper that I had. Parts was on a bus ticket, and when I got off the bus, I like collected it all together and wrote it again, and yeah, it was a great moment. So, and there are days when you say, okay, tomorrow I will write a poem, and you clear your schedule and you say 8 hours, and I will do nothing else but write a poem, and nothing comes.
ഈ മഹാരാജ്യത്തിലെ ഒരു ചെറിയ വിഭാഗം ജനങ്ങൾ മാത്രം സംസാരിക്കുന്നതാണ് എൻ്റെ ഭാഷ. പക്ഷേ ഞങ്ങളുടെ ഭാഷ സജീവമാണ്, ചലനാത്മകമാണ്.
I don't think it would be possible to select any one person. So I'd probably say the circulating libraries to which I belong. All of them inspired me because they produced for me a range of books. And the good thing about a circulating library or a library is that you're not invested in the book. You haven't paid for it. You've only paid for the opportunity to read it. And once you've read it, if you don't like it, you can return it. And if you like it, you can buy it. So I think for me, libraries were the real incentive. And I wanted to be someone whose books would eventually turn up in a library. I think one of the important things about being in a multicultural setting is that you begin to realize that your world is one of many worlds. And that if you have curiosity about people, or you have curiosity about the way people live, or the way they live their lives, or the settings of their lives, then you know that you're faced with riches. You're faced with a great degree of riches. There's a huge treasure house in front of you. And then, of course, there is the fact that Bombay speaks many tongues. It speaks Hindi largely. It speaks English of a kind. It speaks Marathi. It speaks Gujarati. It speaks Tamil and Malayalam as well. There were theatres in the area, in walking distance of my home, that would show Malayalam films, that would show Tamil films. I remember the theatre across the street from where I was showed Chemmeen when it came out. Okay, so one of the first encounters I had with Malayali culture was Chemmeen. When I actually went across and we watched it and were fascinated by the beauty of the sea and of course the tragedy that's unfolding in front of you. So I think that is may have also led to my becoming a translator, because you hear these sounds and these all the time in your head, and therefore they become part of your world. I live in a little part of Bombay called Mahim. So one of my books is called Murder in Mahim. So I'm in the Big Home is set in Mahim. The Education of Yuri is set in Mahim. So everything I have a small enclosed world, but my world contains, for instance, 2 churches, a dargah. It contains a very old temple to Sheetala Devi, where Kipling used to come. So it has everything. I mean, I think there are, one of the things that every human being wants is self-expression, the desire to express what is inside, to bring it out. And what social media has done for all of us is given us a place on which to express ourselves. So we can express ourselves on YouTube, we can express ourselves on Instagram, on Snapchat, on Reddit, on Facebook, on all the other channels there are. But when I was growing up, there wasn't that much scope for self-expression. You could talk to a friend, but that only you and the friend knew what you had said. Then you could take it one step further and maybe write for the papers, but that was very, very closely guarded. There were only so many pages in a newspaper and only so many words they could fit, and so many people who wanted to write for those newspapers and magazines. So I think for us, the desire to express oneself was paramount. It was the most important driving force. And I remember the sheer delight I felt when I first saw my name in print by Jerry Pinto. It was like the most exciting moment I had had. So, poetry to influence people's behavior or to influence what they're reading in poetry, etc., etc. Because I actually believe poetry is an influencer. It's one of the oldest influencers there are. All revolutions start with a poem. All revolutions start with an anthem, with a song. All nations want a song. It's called the national anthem. And that's a poem, right? So poetry is somewhere at the heart and at the real center of our experiential world. And then we tend to lose some contact with it. We drift away. We do other things. But some of us don't grow up and we remain poets. I think poetry ambushes you. You're walking around doing your work quite comfortably, and suddenly something jumps out at you. And I remember, for instance, one of the poems in that book happened in a bus. I was traveling in a bus, and we were going over one of those many flyovers that Bombay has. And as we went over a flyover, I saw an old man inside a room for a glance, and he had a matka, like a little pot, an earthenware pot of water, and he was going towards it with great, almost solemnity, like it was a ritual. And I thought, that's Dadiba, and that's his matka. And a poem started developing. I started scribbling it down as fast as I could on pieces of paper that I had. Parts was on a bus ticket, and when I got off the bus, I collected it all together and wrote it again. And yeah, it was a great moment. So, and there are days when you say, okay, tomorrow I will write a poem, and you clear your schedule and you say 8 hours, and I will do nothing else but write a poem, and nothing comes, not a word comes. So you learn that you have to just be patient, and poetry will come like a gift. With a novel, you know what you're doing, you know where you're going, you have a plot, you can kind of say, okay, I can write this bit today. But a poem is not like that. Poems are kind of like gifts of the god, they just fall out of the sky. I think hustle is very fascinating from where I'm standing and watching your world. I'm fascinated all the time. I'm kind of like, oh, is that how you live your life? Okay. I no judgment. I mean, that's the way you live your life. That's fine. I would be driven demented if I had more than one social media channel. I have Instagram. That's enough for me. It's like more than enough. For instance, people say that they have Netflix, movie, uh, I don't know, Amazon Prime, Hotstar, Disney Hotstar. They have like 5 or 6 different channels, and they tell you this show on that channel, this movie on that channel, and I think I can't do this. I like to have a limited amount of options at any given time, and I think it is always possible to step out of the hustle. Okay, so I say when people ask me, you get so much done, you write so much, and I say leave your phone in the next room. For the time that you're working on something, pick up your phone and put it in the next room and work on that thing, whatever it is. Whether it's a piece of art, or it's a poem, or it's a letter to a friend, or it's a painting, or it's something you're knitting, or whatever you want to be doing. There is a moment that if you step away from that phone, which is the source of all your joy and all your sorrow and all your entertainment and all your distraction, you just step away from it for a few hours, you will feel very anxious on the first few days, because that phone has also become a kind of a way of giving you certain sort of neurotransmitters that kick in and make you feel good. And you're watching cat video. The algorithm learns that you like cat videos. It gives you more cute cat videos. You're just keeping on through the day, and then you look up and it's 45 minutes have gone. You don't know where they went. I can tell you where they went. They went in you pleasuring yourself. So if you want to get something done, step away from the hustle for a while and then get back into the hustle. But if you understand balance, the middle path, I don't think anyone who is 30 and under can totally live without this hustle, without this complete, this bouquet of offerings that the internet is now providing. I don't think it's possible for us to. The easiest way I would say is go get a Nokia. A Nokia phone will keep you in touch with everybody, and you will be able to call mummy if you need. Mummy will be able to call you if you need. You don't need much else. But have you noticed no phone advertises itself as a phone anymore? They advertise themselves as cameras. Okay? So when you're constantly stepping away from your enjoyment to record your enjoyment, right? So you're not just eating a good meal, but you have to take the picture first, right? Or you're not just meeting a friend, but you have to take the selfie first. You're not just standing on the beach, but you have to catch the sunset. There's very little time to actually be in the moment, to live in that moment. So I say sometimes maybe it would be a good idea to go travel and say, I will take a trip to Spain, but I will not take a single photograph. Just my eyes and my brain and my memory. Let's see what I remember. Let me bring back notes. Let me bring back a rich store of memory. Let me not take a photograph. See how it works. It'll be terrifying. And you will also then begin to recognize how much people, how obsessive people are with about capturing these moments. And I walk through the KLF, and people say, "Sir, can I take a selfie?" And I say, "Certainly, take the selfie." And then I think this will be one of the thousands of pictures on your phone. Thousands. What what use is it? What good is it? Where will it go? What will it do? Will you even spend 1 second looking at it in the future? I don't know. Maybe you will. Maybe, oh, look, I took a selfie with Jerry Pinto. But at the end of the day, there are thousands of those on one single phone. And at the end of the day, we do a triage. No, so like you look at the photographs on your phone and delete, 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 delete. That also happens. So I think we could be a lot more productive if we engaged with social media in a way that made it serve us rather than we serving it. Right now, very clearly, if it is free, you are the product. You are what is on sale, right? Your information, your likes and dislikes are being captured by big business. Google, I think, is nothing but a way of understanding what people want so that Meta can get richer just by finding out what people search for. So I think if no harm using it, but perhaps you could use it in a way that serves you rather than you allowing them to manipulate you into spending 8 hours a day on social media and not actually engaging with your brain. I think the negative feedback remains with you much longer, and it settles much deeper inside you. And then you learn how insecure you are actually. That one person can come up to you and say, "Yeah, yeah, what did you write?" And you feel horrible for the rest of the day. And then someone comes up to you and says, "What a wonderful book you wrote." You think, okay, but what other books do you like? I want to know whether you are a good critic or a bad critic. We're so judgmental about ourselves. We're so uh, we're so eager to accept other people's negativity. Okay, and I think we need to change that about ourselves. Really. That's the central thing. The way to look at all feedback is this is a gift from the world. Because what did you want when you wanted self-expression? You want people to respond. If they don't respond, then you're talking into the vacuum, into the void. But now they have responded. That's a gift. Whether they have responded well or badly, you should be able to take the gift in the same way. And that I think would be truly when you have arrived at some state of like enlightenment. Until then, you have to learn to deal with the hurt and you have to learn to deal with the joy of both of them. I was very hurt by the first bad reviews that happened. And my mother was around at that time still. And she said, "What happened? You're looking like someone kicked you in the stomach." So I said, "No, I got a bad review." So she said, "Are the buses running?" I said, "Yeah, the buses are running." She said, "Then?" I thought, well, yeah, the buses are running. Why are you crying? Go to work and get on with it. Someone disliked the book. That's okay. Someone will like the book. Someone will dislike the book. That's okay. So now, whenever anyone gives me a bad review or whatever, I say to myself inside my head, "Are the buses running?" I don't know. I think it used to be that Bombay was the place that I would have seen myself living in. But right now it's become so polluted, so noisy, so hostile to human life that I'm beginning to become less and less excited by the possibility of growing old in Bombay. I hope that if this mad construction craze settles down and we learn to control air pollution, and sound pollution, because there's something in our spirit that makes us believe that we are not having fun until we are making a lot of noise. Yeah. So if we can control those things, I'd be happy to live in Bombay. But now I'm beginning to feel that you carry your antar akash with you wherever you go. Wherever you go, you take your spirit and your soul with you. So if you're unhappy in Bombay, you'll be unhappy in Calicut. and you'll be unhappy in Goa, and you'll be unhappy in New York. You'll be unhappy wherever you are. And if you can keep the internal temperature at a decent level, then wherever you are, you will be in a good zone. So geography is not as much destiny as I thought it was when we were growing up. And when I was growing up, I often thought if I lived in New York, if I lived in London, maybe things would be different. Maybe. And maybe they would. Right now, you realize that this is where you are, and dealing with where you are is part of your job right now. That's it.